Coming up on Network Africa. Over 500,000 people affected by deadly floods in Mozambique as presidential helicopter carries out rescue operations. Vice President Kashim Shettima says opening of Nigeria House in Davos reflects renewed resolve to contribute to global economic conversations. Plus, World Court condemns atrocities spreading across Sudan's Darfur city, describes region as epicenter of profound suffering. Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Joke Rogers here in Lagos. We begin in southern Africa, which has been battling heavy rains leading to deadly flooding situations. In South Africa, the death toll from flooding in Mpumalanga and Limpopo provinces has risen to at least 37. Mpumalanga recorded 20 fatalities, while 17 people died in Limpopo, with reports of drowning continuing to emerge from Phalaborwa, Giyani and Toyandu. Weeks of heavy rainfall have battered large parts of both provinces, destroying homes and damaging critical infrastructure, including roads and bridges. President Cyril Ramaphosa has since visited Limpopo, where the situation has left emergency services stretched.
And now here in the Mopani district, it's even much worse, because right here where we are, there are 36 houses that have just been wiped away from the face of the earth. Everything is gone. The roofs, the walls, the furniture, and one 5-year-old child has also passed away. This saddens us, because the loss of life is always something that is really devastating and should be devastating to all of us. Notwithstanding all that, I'm pleased to know that the community, as well as our municipality and our provincial government, have been doing everything they can to assist the people who've been affected by these floods. The rains have been pouring down. They tell me that more than 400 millimeters of rain has come down in just a short space of time since Sunday. So this is a devastation that we had never expected. And of course, in the Vembe area, some of the people are very close to the river, but here the river has broken its banks completely and went way beyond.
Meanwhile, in Mozambique, more than 500,000 people have been affected by recent floods in the southern and central provinces as heavy rains continue to batter the country and disrupt transport, health services and supply lines. UN Deputy Spokesperson Farhan Haq says Gaza, Maputo and Sofala provinces are some of the areas worst hit by the flooding, which began since mid-December, with authorities reporting that more than 510,000 people have been affected so far. Authorities have also reported the loss of more than 27,000 heads of livestock. The United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs is also engaging with countries across southern Africa, including South Africa, Zimbabwe, Malawi, Zambia, Tanzania, Botswana, Lesotho and Eswatini, which are also experiencing severe flooding.
From Mozambique, our OCHA colleagues tell us that more than 500,000 people have been affected by recent floods in southern and central provinces. Heavy rains since mid-December have caused widespread flooding in the provinces of Gaza, Maputo, and Sofala. Authorities report that more than 510,000 people have been affected so far, with major damage to health facilities and roads. Nearly 5,000 kilometers of roads have sustained damage across 9 provinces of Mozambique, with the main road connecting the capital, Maputo, to the rest of the country now inaccessible. Supply chain lines are significantly disrupted, and authorities report the loss of more than 27,000 heads of livestock. The government is leading the response. On Saturday, it formally requested UN support for search and rescue operations, preventative evacuations, damage assessment, and the provision of temporary shelters. Evacuations continue, and 50 temporary accommodation centers nationwide are hosting more than 50,000 people. We and our partners are scaling up life-saving assistance, focusing on easing overcrowding in accommodation centers, particularly in Gaza province, as assessments continue in hard-to-reach areas. Additional funding is urgently needed to sustain the humanitarian response. Meanwhile, OCHA is engaging with countries across southern Africa, including Mozambique, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Malawi, Zambia, Tanzania, Botswana, Lesotho, and Eswatini, which are also experiencing severe flooding.
Flood evacuations continue in Mozambique, and this was the dramatic rescue of about 12 locals who were trapped in floodwaters. Mozambique's President Daniel Francisco Chapo was on an aerial surveillance mission of the floodwaters, and one of the flights had to conduct this dramatic impromptu rescue. President Chapo and First Lady Guetta were aboard the helicopter flying over submerged roads and fields. A pilot on another flight was seen lifting stranded citizens to safety before the president greeted them. Mr. Chapo had to cancel his trip to the 2026 World Economic Forum in Davos to remain on the ground. Over 5,000 houses have been destroyed and major roads are cut off, leaving nearly 500,000 people at high risk of displacement, with 50 temporary accommodation centers hosting more than 50,000 people nationwide. Elsewhere, Nigeria has marked a historic milestone in its global economic engagement with the official opening of the House at the WEF 2026. Opening the House on the sidelines of the forum, Vice President Kashim Shettima says it advertises Nigeria's readiness and resolve to take frontline seat in the discourse of the global economy, not as observers, but as participants with a clear sense of purpose and place. He believes Nigeria's future growth depends on deliberate, structured engagement with the global economy. Our correspondent, Empress Simon, reports.
For the next 1 week, thousands of people, including political leaders, business leaders, civil society organizations, and members of the academia from over 200 countries will converge on Davos clusters in Switzerland for the 56th World Economic Forum. This year's theme, A Spirit of Dialogue, focuses on fostering interactions on 5 priorities, namely cooperating in contested world, unlocking growth, investing in people, deploying innovation responsibly, and building prosperity within planetary boundaries. Nigeria is also showcasing its potential at the World Economic Forum with the establishment of the first ever Nigeria's House, a hub designed to attract investors across various sectors, including solid minerals, sustainable agriculture, creative industry, and digital economy. Vice President Kashim Shettima, who leads the Nigerian delegation to Davos, arrives to officially open the Nigeria House for full operation.
The Nigerian nation, to the African continent, and to the black race. We are mightily proud of this event.
He leads the guests into the hall. As the conversation commences, the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Mrs. Jumoke Oduwole, spotlights Nigeria's goal at the forum.
The Nigeria House exists for one purpose: to make it easier for credible partners to understand our market, engage our businesses and institutions, and move from interest to partnership. The initiative is part of a broader shift in how Nigeria engages the world, less fragmented, more coordinated, more intentional, and reflects a deeper shift at home towards stronger institutional alignment, clearer accountability, and a shared focus on delivering on Mr. President's economic agenda.
Vice President Kashmir Shettima shows that the dividends of the Tinubu administration's reforms are beginning to materialize, noting that the decision to open up to the world more deliberately comes at a turning point in the country's economic journey.
DCO and the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to deliver the keynote address.
He says the formal opening of the Niger House is a global business roundtable focused on building a resilient supply chain network for the energy transition.
Nigeria House may have been conceived as a whole-of-government platform led by the Honorable Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, with senior leadership across investment, foreign affairs, energy, infrastructure, technology, climate, and culture gathered under one roof. But its true essence must come from the private sector. Government can open doors, create frameworks, and de-risk environments. Only enterprise can animate growth, scale opportunity, and translate policy into productivity. This House will thrive to the extent that it draws life from private capital, private innovation, and private confidence.
The event climaxes with the launch of the publications on investment opportunities in solid minerals, agriculture, and creative industry, as well as digital sectors. From Davos, Switzerland, Empress Simon, Channels Television News.
And still to come on the program. Dakar goes wild as it welcomes its AFCON heroes from their triumph in Morocco. Welcome back. More bilateral matters. Nigeria and the United Arab Emirates appear to be entering a more deliberate phase of economic cooperation, building on the momentum from the past year. The signing of a new comprehensive economic partnership agreement points to stronger diplomatic and trade ties. But for Nigerian entrepreneurs already operating within the UAE, it's clear this announcement is only the opening chapter. From business owners navigating pricing pressures and regional supply chains to creatives and retailers expanding their presence in Dubai, there's cautious optimism across the community. Many say the true measure of this agreement will lie in how quickly it removes barriers, improves access, and creates room for sustainable growth. Our correspondent, Mayo Adegoke, has more on this.
And the spirit of partnership, it is with great pleasure that I announce that Nigeria and the United Arab Emirates have successfully concluded negotiations on a comprehensive economic partnership agreement, CEPA.
Building on 2025 successes, this announcement signals a strengthening of diplomatic and trade relations with the UAE. A positive start to year 2026. However, Nigerian entrepreneurs eager to take advantage say this agreement is just the first step.
It's about that time that the government has to really push for the merging of the private sector, as well as what the government is doing in the background to make sure Nigerian products are easily accessible and they have a competitive edge over the pricings of the products.
Tim Olatoke owns an online grocery business selling agricultural products readily available in Nigeria. Regardless, he is forced to import from other African countries.
Because the pricing and the export process from Nigeria is very difficult, and you spend a lot more as compared to any of our other neighboring countries.
Within the resident community, business owners expect the presidency to also focus on visa criteria, which limits the inflow of Nigerian tourists.
We have a thriving environment, Nigerians in the UAE, but we just want a level more clarity in terms of how things will work. The visa issue is a concern, and we would like that level of clarity to ensure that we're working together to strengthen the ties.
And of the Son and the Holy Spirit.
Established fashion entrepreneur Goodluck, who recently opened his second store in the city, sees this season as an opportunity for greater communal progress and creation of jobs for the youth resident in the country.
There's so many talents out there among us, and I strongly believe that if we are able to support each other, if we are able to collaborate more often, I think we will be able to excel more and create more impact.
But this cannot be done without this amazing team.
The newly signed Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement between Nigeria and the UAE will reduce tariffs and remove trade barriers, boost investment flows, create opportunities, as well as empower small and medium enterprises to expand their reach in global markets. Now that's a promise Nigerian entrepreneurs want to bank on in 2026 and beyond. From Dubai in the United Arab Emirates, Maya Wadegoke for Channels Television News.
Now to Uganda, where President Yoweri Museveni has accused members of the opposition of attempting to use violence to overturn the results of the country's recent presidential election, in which he was declared winner of a 7th term, an action he describes as terrorism. Mr. Museveni, who has ruled Uganda since 1986, warned the opposition against continuing to destabilize these destabilizing actions. The president issued free advice to his rivals, saying, "We don't want our country to be like Libya. So to all the traitors, this is free advice from me. Please stop what you're doing, because we know everything and you will not succeed." He outlined priorities for his next term, placing the fight against poverty at the top of his agenda. He also stressed the need to reform the education and health sectors of the country, while criticizing corruption within government institutions.
All our members stand up. There will be no opposition in Uganda, I can assure you. But some of the opposition are wrong and also terrorists. Now, the plan everywhere was that where NUP is defeated, gangs with the pangas. You remember pangas? With the pangas should attack the polling station. And that's what they did. When Chibimba was defeated, they came with the pangas to attack the polling station, and they were shot. 7 of them were shot dead there with the pangas. We don't want our country to be like Libya. So all the traitors, this is free advice from me, that please stop what you're doing, because we know everything, and you will not do it. Either peacefully or unpeacefully, we shall maintain peace in Uganda. That's number one. We must end poverty in our homes, because it is that poverty which opens gate for all these other problems. The other area is education. Free education in government schools.
The deputy prosecutor of the International Criminal Court has described the situation in Sudan's Darfur region as an epicenter of profound suffering. Briefing the United Nations Security Council, Nazat Shamin Khan said civilians are being subjected to collective torture amid a widening war between rival military forces. Sudan has been gripped by conflict since April 2023 between the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces and the army. Ms. Khan adds that the fall of al-Fashir to the RSF has been accompanied by an organized, calculated campaign of the most profound suffering targeting non-Arab communities in particular, and many of these crimes have been filmed and celebrated by those committing them.
It was my hope and intention to be with you today in the Council chamber, in particular, given the importance of this moment in Darfur. But I regret that I was not granted a visa in order to be able to provide my briefing in line with the mandate provided by the Council. The situation in Darfur has darkened even further. Darfuris, as we speak, are being subjected to collective torture. The fall of El Fasher to the RSF has been accompanied by an organized, calculated campaign of the most profound suffering, targeting non-Arab communities in particular. Rape, arbitrary detention, executions, mass graves, all perpetrated on a massive scale. Many of these crimes have been filmed and celebrated by those committing them. This dreadful situation is still ongoing. War crimes and crimes against humanity have been committed in Al Fasher, including in particular in late October as a culmination of the siege of the city by the Rapid Support Forces. This criminality is being repeated in town after town in Darfur. It will continue until this conflict and the sense of impunity that fuels it are stopped.
Ethiopia's Orthodox Christian community celebrated Epiphany, locally known as Timkat, commemorating the baptism of Jesus Christ in the Jordan River. Orthodox Epiphany bathing and special services took place right across Africa in Zambia, Republic of the Congo, Ethiopia, the Central African Republic, and Mauritius. In Addis Ababa on Monday, large crowds gathered around a pool where clergymen dressed in traditional robes performed symbolic rituals and spiritual dances to the sounds of hymns. During the celebration, worshippers wear the shama, a traditional white cotton robe, creating a striking sea of white as they gather for grand street parades. During the mass processions, tabots, sacred replicas of the Ark of the Covenant, are taken from their sanctuary churches and carried to watersides. Timkat is considered the most important event on the Ethiopian Orthodox calendar. Since 2019, the African festival has been recognized by UNESCO as an intangible cultural heritage of humanity due to its ancient and unique traditions, attracting thousands of tourists each year. Senegalese football fans have welcomed their national heroes, celebrating the Teranga Lions' AFCON final victory over Morocco on Sunday. Supporters gathered outside Blaise International Airport, waving flags and playing music as the squad arrived. As night fell, crowds lined the route into the city, cheering as the team buzzed past under police supervision. Senegal clinched their second AFCON trophy on Sunday after a thrilling clash against Morocco at Rabat's Prince Moulay Abdallah Stadium. The win gives Senegal a second Africa Cup of Nations title following their 2021 triumph, while Morocco remains without a continental title since 1976, despite reaching the final on home soil. And did you know, due to being a former colony of France, Senegal's official language is French. It gained independence from France in 1960. The name Senegal comes from the Wolof phrase Sunu Gal, which translates as our boat. They're a nation of fishermen and a gentle, welcoming people. Along with the Gambia, Senegal is considered one of the best bird-watching locations in the world. Well, now you know. That's Network Africa. Thank you for watching. I'm Joke Rogers.